Hi, I'm Owen Thornton, and in the short time I've got available for this presentation, just 10 minutes, I'm going to be showing you an option that was quietly released in version 14 with a little fanfare, and I think it's quite a valuable option for anyone who needs to produce road plans or rail plans showing chainage labels, the kinds of things that the super alignment labels for you automatically. Okay, now I'm not going to bore you with a detailed PowerPoint here because time is limited. I'm going to jump straight into 12D to show you what this option is. Okay, so here I've got 12D model 15. Now you could run this option in 14 as well, but I'm showing it in 15. We've got an alpha version of 15 available here. And the option I'm talking about is from the super alignment toolbar down the bottom left by default. On the super alignment labels and tables fly out, it is the second icon along there, explode and process labels. And it pops up this little panel here called Super Alignment Style Output. Now on the right hand side of the screen here, you can see a couple of models of super alignments here. There's two different models. There's 4 road alignments, and there's also a pipeline alignment running down the middle. And these are the typical super alignment styles that you're probably all familiar with. And the thing is, they're all part of each individual super alignment. The individual labels can't be moved around, and they're a little bit difficult to adjust without going and defining a new style. Okay, so to minimize the amount of styles that you need defined for whatever your purpose is, this option takes these styles and turns them into new models. It leaves the super alignments and their labels untouched, but creates new models with all of these labels exploded and renamed so that you can move them around as you need to as a drafting exercise to make your drawings look as good as they can. So a little simple example here. I'm going to take everything on this view called alignment, and I'm going to for each individual super alignment string, there may be any number of strings in however many models. It'll create a single output model for every single string. And each output model will have a prefix of label chainage in this case, or whatever you type in here. You've got other options as well though. After all of this text and symbols and things and so forth are exploded, you can choose to trim off the trailing zeros if you want to save a little bit of space on screen for showing more detail behind the text. And you've even got the option to do something interesting for the start of every string, typically the zero chainage point. You can turn on this tick box here and say, well, some people, I know there's a strange convention, you don't see it very often anymore. The start of the alignment, it's labelled with a 00, for instance. Or what my preference would be for a job like this one, where we're trying to compose a little plan such as what we're seeing on the left-hand side here, but with chainage labels, I just leave that blank, and then I won't see a chainage label at 0 because we can just assume that 0 is where it's starting. Okay, and we'll still see a marker there, but we won't see the text label. Okay, and you've also got the option whether or not you want these segment colors that are showing through, the greens and the reds here. Now, if I leave this tick box off, it's not going to let those segment colors come through to the labels, because you also get a horizontal geometry string that's just a superstring of this super alignment in the labels model, and it can just revert to the base color of the super alignment rather than using the segment colors, which is probably the way most people want to use it. So I'm going to leave that tick box off, and then I can go ahead and hit the run button like so. And it thinks for a few moments, and then it comes back and says all 5 super alignments have been processed. I can come over to my plan. Now here I'm trying to produce some kind of general arrangement plan. For instance, I've got contours, I've got a grid, I've got lots of other services, I've got cadastral boundaries. I don't have, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I don't really have a lot of room to move if I want to avoid obscuring lots of details on this plot. Now, if I just add all of those output models onto my plan view, it is the label models here, not the original alignment models from this view, but these label models. This is what you'll put on your drawing, and if you're plotting in 12D, this is what you'll modify, and if you're exporting to AutoCAD via DWG, it is these models that you'll export to AutoCAD. Okay, you can leave the original super alignments for the designers. They're going to be completely untouched by this option, but it's the label options here if you're trying to do some high quality drafting that you'll want to have a look at. So let's add them onto the view now. And I can see, well, for the scale that this text has come out at, I think this is set to 1 to 1,000 from memory. I'm looking at this thinking, well, I could probably tighten this up a little bit. I think all of these chainage labels, for instance, are a little bit too far away from the roads. So here I might come in and say, well, let me run that again, but this time I'll use a different offset factor for the text. Okay, now this is something you can't do easily with the original super alignment styles, but here, once it's exploded into individual items, you can. So if I hit something like, I don't know, 0.6 or something, that's going to bring all the labels closer to their alignment strings. And I'll rerun that, cleaning everything as it goes. And now everything's a little bit tighter. But you might think, well, actually this pipeline string, I'm only labeling here the critical points on that pipeline string. I might make them even closer still. So just for this one super alignment, the pipeline, I'll select it, and I'll say, well, let's go with something even tighter than that, maybe 0.2 as a factor, and run that, and those labels end up much closer to the alignment. I could even go closer still, 0.1, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, clearly labelled and not obscuring anything else. That's what we're trying to do here. It's the art of drafting, I suppose. I'm not really a drafter, I'm just pretending today. And then, you know, some of these other roads you might think, well, maybe I could pick, say, the two internal roads here, road C and road D, and then say, well, actually, I might give them a factor that's a little bit tighter, maybe 0.4. Run, and that's probably going to look okay, and clear up that. We can see what we're looking at. Maybe that's a little bit too close there, but okay, once we've got the basic offsets in place, you can see at the beginning of every road we're not seeing the 0, 0 chainage there, but all of these elements are individual elements now. I can do an individual string inquire on all of these text strings, for instance, highlighting the text. If I can pick on it, there we go. There we go. There, if I can turn off my other snaps, like so, and you can get these individual text strings. And it's not just that it's exploded them into individual text strings either, it has also named them all uniquely. So as well as being able to move everything around, like I could pick up, say, this text label here and just move it to a better location to label the beginning of road C, say. You can see most of the text, apart from these road name labels, just from the original style, have white out applied to them, so they're not obscuring anything other than maybe themselves. I might want to move this one that's a little bit too close to the regular chainage line there. I just, oops, didn't quite get that one. Try that again. Something like that. But each one of these labels, if I just go and have a look at the string names used, going through my favorite debugging tool in 12D, models string info table, and I just look at one of the label models here. Let's just look at the one for road B, say. Each individual element in each individual label model has been categorically named. So as a prefix, you get the name of the original alignment string, and then it's either TX for text or SY for symbol. Okay, and this is the original components. There's also, right down the bottom, the superstring, the horizontal geometry of the original super alignment that's coloured in its base colour there. Okay, so all of this appears, and this allows you, if you are going to AutoCAD, to much more easily map everything into different layers if that's what you need to do. And you can still move things around just the same way in AutoCAD, just like you can in 12D. So it doesn't really matter whether you're doing your drafting out of AutoCAD or out of 12D. This tool gives you the greatest flexibility possible to allow you to make your plans look as good as they possibly can. Okay, so again, this is the super alignment style output option. It's available from the labels and tables super alignment toolbar right there. It's also available from the menu under strings, super alignments, tools, explode and process labels. Okay, so that's all I've got for you today. Thank you very much for your time.